I've got the privilege to even chalk on the Prime Minister's driveway at his private residence to defend this Safe Schools program. Yesterday when we were at Sunrise at the Channel 7 studio in Martin Place, a group of girls from Sydney Girls High came up to us who actually volunteered for the program after hearing Cory Bernardi's critiques of the program. So thank you, Cory. Yeah.
As a school that is one of the first to have signed up to the Safe Schools Coalition and have advocated it for such a long time, we were extremely shocked that people could come out and say such horrible things about it and talk about it being in such a negative light. But from that negative and the hypocrisy that we saw, there also came a positive. The positive of the people like yourselves that are all here today came out to support the school, who came out to support the program, as you are today. It's a very necessary program, and I personally, as well as I know all of you can't believe that the government is doing a review into it. I think that any school that thinks it doesn't need extra help with bullying of any kind, they've got it wrong. So, thank you for coming out today and supporting LGBT plus youth. It's really incredible to see such great support.
Yeah. Safe Schools is here to stay.
We're gonna fight it all the way.
Safe Schools is here to stay.
We're gonna fight it all the way.
Safe Schools is here to stay.
We're gonna fight it all the way.
Awesome.
I'd like to just quickly relate why the Safe Schools is important to people like myself. As April just mentioned, I got pretty viciously assaulted last year by two young men who just attacked me just because of who I am. Now, if we allow programs such as Safe Schools to be taken down, basically today's bullies will become tomorrow's homophobic, transphobic thugs. These kids, these boys need to know the Safe Schools program isn't just about queer kids, it's about young, straight, cisgendered boys learning that this kind of behaviour is not okay. These people deserve your respect, they're as important as you are. People aren't automatically born a homophobic or transphobic bigot. They learn that stuff. They learn it at home, they learn it at school. And if we have programs like this at school where someone can actually sit down and tell these boys, hey, this isn't okay, that you can be a better person than this, that's better outcomes for everyone, not just the queer kids, that's better outcomes for all of society. So let your if you live in a local electorate with a Liberal member, let them know that this program is for everyone. It's not, this stops bullying full stop. This isn't just an LGBTI program. This is a program that protects all kids. And anyone who denies a child's right to be themselves isn't someone who should be sitting in Parliament.
For me, I identified as a same-sex attracted gay man at the age of 9 or 10. But I felt very apprehensive at the time to coming out and revealing that to the people around me. Growing up in the country and suburban Western Australia, it was never going to be an easy time to do that. And it would be no wonder why. Strangers, friends, and yes, even some family would shout out abuse like poof, faggot, right at me. I would be punched, kicked, my food, my lunch money stolen. I would be made to feel worthless. That's right. Sadly, this abuse is not uncommon today, whatever age you may be. The Australian Christian Lobby, that group of supposed Christians that are really oddly obsessed with gay sex, they've turned their sights to eliminating the Safe Schools program, thereby actively causing harm to safe-sex attracted, trans and gender diverse communities. And as a planned attack on the safety of our children, Cory Bernardi, Eric Abetz and Tony Abbott, among a number of other Liberal Party politicians, came out spinning lies about social engineering and saying the lowest of all lows to label the program pedophile grooming. Shame on them. Shame! And our Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, chose not to discipline a single one of them. And shame on him.
Shame! 1, 2, 3, 4, end the homophobic law. 5, 6, 7, 8, safe schools in every state. 5, 6, 7, 8, safe schools in every state. 1, 2, 3, 4, end the homophobic law. 5, 6, 7, 8,
Safe schools in every state.
1, 2, 3, 4,
End the homophobic law.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Safe schools in every state.
Such a fringe minority is allowed to get all the airtime, all the press time that it could ever ask for. We've seen dozens of articles in The Australian. We saw Lyle Shelton, the head of the Australian Christian Lobby, get basically the full hour of Q&A to himself last week, where all the speakers in the audience, he knew them all on first name terms, talking, transphobic, homophobic rubbish, all this kind of stuff. So they've got all the platform they could ever need, despite being a tiny minority. And the majority are the ones who have to get out here and band together and try to fight back against them.
Safe Schools has trained thousands of teachers and exists in hundreds of schools, and it's a huge win for LGBTQIA students and the activists who've been working to get an LGBTQIA affirming curriculum for decades. But in the midst of of Safe Schools being rolled out, there has been an upswing in transphobia from the religious right and attacks on the program. These right-wing attacks are not unique to Australia. In the United States and Canada, the religious right is leading campaigns against bathroom access for trans and non-binary people. Yes, it's shameful. There are bills in multiple legislatures aimed at entrenching discrimination against trans and non-binary people that aim to have their access and their bodies criminalised. The ACL looks to the United States for strategies and tactics to launch a similar campaign here. That campaign is the attacks on safe schools. They also hope that by attacking the components of safe schools that relate to gender identity, they can open up a front for broader attacks on all LGBTQIA people to roll back what rights we've won, to campaign against marriage rights, to campaign against us. Safe Schools is focused on homophobia and transphobia, but the most vicious attacks scattered across the pages of The Australian and spewed by the ACL spokesman are levelled against the parts of Safe Schools that relate to gender identity, that gives tips to students on how to combat the bigots and breaks down heterosexist structures and language. So to this end, we have seen the most putrid hate-mongering from the ACL and their friends in the Murdoch press. They have shamelessly used photographs of proud trans and non-binary students in a way that ridicules and demeans every trans and non-binary person, and they demand nothing less than a return to or retainment of uniform policies that misgender and degrade trans and non-binary students.
So I'm a Year 12 student, currently completing my HSC at a public high school in Manly, and I just wanted to say how homophobic high school is and how important Safe Schools is. So at my school, we've had executives out students to their parents. We've had people being told they're not allowed to come out as bisexual on their own social media because it's bad for the school's reputation. Yeah, it's absolute bullshit, and that's why it's so important that we stand up for Safe Schools. Safe Schools is a program for inclusiveness, diversity and safety. And the attack against it has been disgusting. It's an absolute disgrace that people can get on TV and say awful, disgusting things about trans and gay students everywhere. But we're fighting back.